Well, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, right? Is it Tuesday?
Yes, it is. It is a Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 21st.
Tuesday, September 21st. We got Sarah with us today, and today we're actually going to talk a little bit about social media and how that affects your family, your kids. We're about, I guess, 1 month, a little close to a month into the school year. And so that's when we kind of see an uptick in some social media issues and some things like that that you should be doing to protect your children. And so we're actually going to talk about specifically today an app that I'm somewhat new to. Sarah, you've probably been on it for a while. You're much more into the social media platforms than I am. But TikTok is one that we're talking today about. And we'll be talking about some stuff with Facebook and Instagram as well. But primarily, we're going to focus on some stuff with TikTok. I've never had this issue until this year. I've got one of my children is actually wanting to install TikTok, and that's kind of been one of the reasons that I've been looking at it and investigating it myself. Sarah, why don't you give us kind of an overview? What is TikTok for those that don't know?
Yeah, so if anybody is not familiar with TikTok, it is an extremely popular social media app. It is completely video based. So essentially, whenever you sign up for TikTok, you're going to log in, set up a user profile, and immediately you have access to a continuous stream of short clip videos. They go anywhere from 30 seconds, and they have recently introduced a new upgrade that videos can go up to 3 minutes long, which was super huge. But that's creating more engagement and more access to these longer clips of videos with just content across so many industries, across so many ideas, so much knowledge, which can be beneficial and can be harmful. And it's extremely popular in kids' high school ages, anywhere from 13 to 17. You have the millennials are on the app. People in my age group, I'm 24. So you're looking at literally people who are anywhere from 13 and honestly all the way up to 60. There are a lot of users that are getting on TikTok just to find a new community, a new place to find new hobbies. So it's very expansive, and that in itself can cause an issue whenever we're talking about young kids in that very young age group. That's super impressionable.
Well, and one of the things that is interesting to me, if you actually look at one, I'm going to pull up the statistic on the screen, but it talks about TikTok and how it was actually the most downloaded app of 2020 in the United States and worldwide. That alone shows the popularity, and one of the reasons that we think that a lot of that was people were stuck at home with the quarantines and a lot of that stuff. They were just sitting on the app, and so I downloaded it a couple months ago. We actually did it for some marketing reasons for here at the office, and it fascinated me, to be honest. The algorithm and how it serves videos. Like, you would think you live in your own echo chamber, that everybody agrees with what you think and things like that. And so that's kind of one of the things we're going to talk about today. And one of the studies that actually just came out in the last month is just really kind of disturbing on some levels of kind of how it works. And we're going to actually put a link in the comments to this video that you can go watch. The Wall Street Journal did a video piece on TikTok and how the algorithm works, which really is not public knowledge. This is a company based out of China who owns TikTok, and their algorithm is a pretty well guarded secret. So they were trying to actually come up with how it works and how it actually serves up that information. And one of the things in that article that we're going to talk about is this quote right here. This kind of sets the stage for kind of some of the things you need to be looking for as a parent with your children who want to use this app. But what the Wall Street Journal did is they actually created some bots that made it like they were 13 years old, all different ages and things like that. But this particular one that they're talking about, TikTok served one account registered as a 13-year-old at least 569 videos about drug use, references to cocaine and meth addiction, promotional videos for online sales of drugs, drug products and paraphernalia. Hundreds of similar videos appeared in the feeds of the journal's other minor accounts. So even on minor accounts, you're seeing a lot of this video that's served up. Now, this isn't, to bash TikTok or anything like that. I'm very pro social media. I'm very pro technology, but there are some limits and some things that you should be doing as a parent, and even even as an individual, to protect yourself from certain things and certain aspects of social media. I think everything in moderation is good, but that's part of.
I wanted to touch base on what you're talking about with the algorithm and how impressive TikTok algorithm is. I think that's something that once you get on the app and start paying attention to how curated it is to your mind, you're like, okay, that's kind of weird. But one of the things that they've noticed or that they realized is that the longer you linger on a video, so I was talking about those 30-second to 3-minute videos, if you're watching a minute 30 of these 3-minute videos, TikTok is continually going to push that form of content because you stay on it longer. And that could just be anything from a pause, even if you just put your phone down and the video continued playing, even if you're not into that content, that's what the algorithm is going to pull. So in the universe of like watching what your kids are watching, if they stop on a video that may not be appropriate for them and don't even realize what it is, they'll look at it, maybe stay on it longer, and then continue to scroll. But since they pause on that video, that could cause an issue on their For You page of what's going to come up in the future.
Well, and part of the study that they did, which was interesting to me, is they said with all these bots, typically within 30 minutes, anywhere from 30 minutes to I think 2 hours of how curated the content was in just that short amount of time of using the app. I remember when I first got on, I actually called a friend of mine and I was like, hey, do you have a TikTok account? He's like, no. I was like, you need to go download it. I was like, because I'm curious to know how this algorithm works, because it's just so it's so good from when it started, what it was showing me when it started versus what it was even a week into it. It was kind of crazy just to see the amount of videos that were specific to things that I would want to watch, even like technology things. It was technology. There's one guy that I follow that he does IT out in LA, and he just does little short clips of things that he does. So just things like that. Other business owners that I'm following on there, and that's kind of what you see in social media as a whole. While it is primarily, for I would say the younger generation, you do have a lot of businesses, and kind of you've seen that even move from Twitter and Facebook. Now, Facebook used to be just college kids, and now it's businesses have a Facebook presence. I think that kind of what we're seeing with TikTok is that's going to be the next kind of phase of marketing, even for businesses, is going to be something that TikTok's going to be used for. So again, I'm not bashing TikTok. I just think it's something that parents do need to be aware of what the content is. And if you don't have an account and you are letting your kids on there, you definitely are exposing them to things that you probably need to be aware of. So I would recommend, as a parent, before you give any of your kids access to this, that you definitely look into it yourself and have an account, so you can kind of know how it works, know the ins and outs, know what features you have on there. I mean, yes, you should be doing things to protect your home network and your home computers, any devices that the kids have, but it's very important that you understand how it works, so you can have conversations with your kids about it, because technology is not going away.
I think one of the things we always talk about is you don't know what you don't know, and allowing your children to just jump on these social media apps, not quite understanding how they work. It just leaves a little bit of risk. So taking that initiative and checking everything out and just ensuring, okay, I understand how this works. We'll see what they're going to see. And then having those conversations just sets you up for a better experience.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth of the matter is, with any technology, and it's kind of like even the world we live in, you can't shelter your kids forever, and you can't keep them from those things that are online, and there's safeguards that you can put in place, but you're not going to stop 100% of it. Just in what we deal with in a day-to-day basis for businesses, trying to manage that risk for customers and companies, we can't stop 100% of every threat that's out there. You can't stop 100% of things that your kids are going to come across. But explaining to them and educating them on how to respond to certain things, or what they should and should not say, how they should respond if they get a direct message from a stranger. Things like that are conversations you should be having as a parent with your children, that I think is very important. Now, all of that to say, there's some very interesting things in the video. It's about a 15-minute video that we're going to put a link to under in the comments section. So check that video out from the Wall Street Journal. But one of the things that's coming out of this is some new regulations or recommendations that TikTok is actually rolling out. So, as a company, they are trying to do at least some address some of the concerns that parents may have. So one of the things that they've done recently is they're actually setting limits on when teen users get notifications. So any accounts for users that are age 13 to 15, they're not going to see a push notification on the app after 9 p.m. And then users that are 16 to 17 aren't going to see notifications after 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that they're putting in place. They also have, whenever they're uploading a video, it's going to ask them specifically who they want to allow to view it. So they're trying as a company to put some safeguards in place, but that's still a conversation that you should be having with your children and with your kids on how that's going to work and what works for you as a family. And I think it's not something that's going away. So it's more of kind of managing that with your children and understanding how it works and what is acceptable. Any thoughts on that, Sarah?
Yeah, I definitely think you're correct. It's not going away. And having those conversations, even from a young age, it may seem uncomfortable, but in the long run, I think your children will appreciate it a little bit more. And then it gives you a peace of mind because you have had that education. You don't have to sit there like, do they know what this means? Are they going to understand whenever this pops up? So just having that education at the forefront, so they're like, oh, talked about this with my mom and dad, not something I should be a part of. I think that's going to give them a better sense of like where they belong in social media, because there's a lot of things that go on TikTok. I am a user. Going back to the algorithm, I've tested it a few different ways, and within like a week, I've had my For You page solely on like working out, or then fashion, or then books, or like book talk is the term that people use. You just put like whatever you're on and then talk at the end of it. But it creates a better atmosphere and a safer use of social media, even outside of TikTok. You can use TikTok to open those conversations whenever we're looking at Instagram and Twitter, which are still super popular. Facebook, not so much with the kids within 13 to 15. But it's across all of those guidelines, although Instagram is not as crazy on the algorithm. But there's just so many things that they can consume. So having that conversation and getting them prepared for like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this, I think just is a better setup.
Well, I think as far as the algorithms are concerned, TikTok to me blows everybody away with their algorithm. It's
not
very
interesting. It's insane.
Now, one of the things, there's not just the threat of pornography or being contacted by somebody that you don't want to be contacted by. Those threats are real. Those things exist. That's conversations you should be having with your kids. But what's interesting to me in this article and in this video that you can watch from the Wall Street Journal, they actually talk about how they curate the content based on even like depression and mental health issues. So it's also something that you might want to be aware of, what videos your kids are getting served, because there might be reasons why they're getting served those videos. Did they watch videos about mental health? Did they stop on those long enough? Why are those videos coming up? So again, using it as an education piece and a tool to have that conversation starter is probably what's the most beneficial use of the app. But it's very interesting, even with things like mental health and drug use, or even they had eating disorders.
It's come to the forefront. And what's what's almost kind of scary about these videos is that some of them are super pertinent, and they're like, I have an eating disorder, and they're very open with what they're discussing. But there are other videos that it's almost like a back end idea that insinuates what's going on. So whenever you're talking about an age group that's super impressionable and they may not realize what it means at the forefront, but it's hitting their brain. And if you go down a hole in TikTok of like eating disorder issues, and they're very real, and you don't want to discredit that. But eating disorders and depression, and then you just do that every day, day after day for hours, it just creates this image or this area in your brain, and you're like, I don't even know what this means. So just
well, and not only that, you if you have a child that's never heard of that, you've never had that conversation, and now they're learning about a whole thing online, and if they're only serving up that content to them, they're thinking, wow, this is normal, everybody feels this way, this is how I should be. And I think that's more what is concerning to me, as far as it almost makes you feel like, wow, I'm not the only one this way, I need to be looking at all these different things. And so it's very difficult. I would much prefer having that narrative come from me as a parent to my children versus them finding these things online and the narrative being set for them. So I definitely think it's something that all parents should be aware of. I mean, in addition to having those filters, having things in your network, like using something like Bark, or using something like Disney Circle, using those filters and things like that to prevent. But again, it's more of educating and explaining and having open conversations with your kids about the why behind it. And hey, no, not everybody. This isn't necessarily a normal thing that everybody deals with, but also, I've read other articles where when parents do that, right, where they're actually engaged in their kids' social media accounts, where it's actually opening up conversations. Even like I said about the mental health issue, like they may be feeling depression about something, and then you can have that conversation with them about it, and not having them in this echo chamber of TikTok where it's just, you don't know what they're getting served, and you don't know what advice they're getting from anybody. And I think the culture that we have right now, everybody wants to be like the next TikTok star. They want to be the next YouTube sensation. And
influencer culture is extremely prevalent. And it gets
and a lot of people and a lot of kids this age, they'll go and they'll do things on TikTok that are either, like they had this whole milk crate challenge and things that they were doing. And that was, TikTok does a pretty good job of trying to stop that stuff. And, but when these things happen and the kids start doing these things with these challenges, or you've got to make sure that they're not doing things just for attention. Because a lot of times, somebody's like, if they say, oh, well, if I go make this video about such and such, they may not even feel that way necessarily, but that's what gets likes. And so they're like trying to create content that isn't even real.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, because there are so many, and right now there are so many famous people that are between the ages of 18 and 20, even down to 16 and 20. And in their brains, and it's true, all it takes is one video, potentially. I mean, these people, like I found someone the other day, she had never made a TikTok before, and she made one TikTok, and that one TikTok had 5 million views. Like, the exposure that you can get through this app just because you have one funny video is honestly crazy. And there are so many people that are just chasing that one funny video because they think they're going to make it that way. So it's just this constant like content game. Okay, what can we do today to see what would happen from here?
Yeah, and I think going back to what I was, I think you got to realize as big as TikTok and Facebook and all these places are, I hear both sides of this argument about, oh, TikTok shouldn't be censoring what's out there. Well, I mean, I think to a degree they should.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a responsibility, at least at some level, that as a company, they should be trying to take some of this stuff off of the platform. However, it comes down, people say, oh, it's a free speech issue. Well, it is a free speech issue, but it's really not, because it's a private company and you agreed to their terms of service. So I see both sides of it, but more importantly than that, you don't need to leave. It's kind of like, in my generation, when it was the parents would leave the kids to watch TV, and that was the babysitter. Well, now it's the phones are the babysitter, or TikTok, the social media platforms are just, hey, go watch this. If you're not actively engaged in monitoring what they're watching, what they're consuming, what they're being taught, what they're being shown, then that's not TikTok's fault. That's not Facebook's fault. That's not Instagram's fault. That's not their responsibility to make sure they're not serving that content to your children. It is your responsibility as a parent to make sure that you know what they're doing. So I think just from that standpoint, I think it's very important for parents to understand that, especially if you have kids that are in school, that are that age where they're very impressionable. TikTok is a different world. I mean, it's literally changed the entire world. I mean, and you look at even in the last, you look at when YouTube happened, when their rise to success, that was kind of a content creation where you're competing with, at the time you were competing with television shows, 30 minutes long, an hour long. Longer content was on YouTube. Now people's attention spans, if that video doesn't capture your attention within the first 10 seconds, they're moving on.
It's the science is 3 seconds. You have 3 seconds to capture, and if not, and then you can just scroll for hours. So those 3 seconds are crucial.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been on the app before, and it's like, okay, what happened to the 2 hours that I was just, I was supposed to be doing this? Like, what are you doing?
Like, oh gosh.
And I'm even finding that I'll look and see, man, if it's a 3-minute video, I don't even watch it. I'll just keep going, because it's like I don't have time to watch a 3-minute video, but I'll watch a 30-second video. I'll watch a 10-second video. So the amount of content and the amount of kind of impression that they can get in a short amount of time is a lot. You really have, I mean, you could go for, if your kids are scrolling there for an hour, they may see 15 to 20 different videos that you would never want them to watch. Mm-hmm. But just because of the short clips, they're watching 10 seconds here, 15 seconds there, 20 seconds here. Those are the kind of things that you just need to be aware of as a parent. And it is, if you don't have it, and your kids do, that is a huge red flag. I would say you definitely need to understand the social media that your kids are on. Even if it's something where you're just, on it to monitor it, you don't have to be a content creator, but you do need to go on there and understand how it works. Understand where those parental settings are, where you can make sure that you have the privacy set up in the best way possible. And every platform is different. So that's something you need to find out and educate yourself on how to secure your kids' accounts. Even email accounts. Gmail has options for kids now where you can link it to a parent's account, to where the parent can have some control over that account, at least while they're a minor. So all of those things are things you need to be thinking of. And if you have any questions on that, you can comment on this video, and we'll try to help you and guide you in that respect. We're also putting 2 links on this video. One is to the Wall Street Journal video that they did. It's about 15 minutes, very eye-opening and very informative for you to watch that. And then there's another video that we linked to. I think it's about 10 to 12 minutes long, that just talks about social engineering and how, with the prevalence of social media, how we're actually seeing that turn into cybercrime. And so that's something, if take 30 minutes out of your day to watch both of those videos, it will definitely give you an eye-opening experience on what's out there. And if you need any help with that, comment on here. We'll be more than happy to assist you in any way we can. Sarah, you got anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it. And how we were talking about, now it's not 30 seconds, but these are super good videos that have good information condensed into a small piece. You're not looking at an hour news story. It's 15 minutes on one, 12 minutes on the other. And I think both of these, my jaw hit the floor. It's very good information, especially the second one. You're just like, they can do that? Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
and you know, I think that's what's interesting in our industry. It's like you try to tell people, and you try to tell people, no, you don't understand. This is what we're seeing every day. This is what we're up against. This is what we're fighting. But when you see a video of how the criminals actually do what they do with your information,
Yeah,
it's definitely eye opening. So if that's something that, you know, shocks you, or you have any questions about, you can absolutely reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about that, either from your business or from your personal network or whatever. So definitely look forward to hearing from you. Y'all, thank you for watching. We will be back on Thursday with another vital update. I forget who's on Thursday. We have a business.
Yes, we have a vet quants coming on Thursday, and she is the Eat Fit Acadiana representative, and she's going to be telling us about all the programs she has going on within Acadiana, and more about Eat Fit and what they do throughout the state.
All right. Well, we will see y'all on Thursday. Thank y'all so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.